Hi everybody, it's Keren here from tuppence.co.uk and thank you very much for joining me today. Today's card, well, it's all about the love. Stay with me and I will show you how I made it. Here are the things that I'm using today. My card base is powdered pink and I've cut a piece that is 11.5 by 4 inches. I've scored and folded it at 5 3/4. I'm going to be doing some stamping on a piece of Very Vanilla, and this is 3 3/4 by 5. And I'm going to be making use of some of this. Now, part of this project is to make use of this card, which is one that I made in my playing with brushes video, and I'm going to show you how I got the glitter on there. I have crumb cake and powdered pink inks and sheet music stamp. I've got some metal rimmed pearls embellishments, a length of old olive sheer ribbon, and I've got about 18 inches there. It's a lot more than I'm going to need. And I'm thinking that I may use some of these. These are the Painted with Love gold vinyl stickers. So these are the things that I'm going to be using today. I didn't need to say that last. So here are the things that I'm using. I've got my fusible web, which is this stuff, and I got it from Amazon, and I've cut a piece of it that's just a bit about the size of my card. Now I've already chopped up the piece of card that I did for my video on techniques with brush strokes. So I've just made a little small piece in the same way. If you want to see how it's done, go and have a look at my techniques with brush strokes, because the whole point of this project is to use up some of the things that I actually made for that video. So I have my piece of card, I've got my piece of fusible webbing, I've got a cork board underneath, and I'm covered my cork board with a piece of, in this case, this is wax paper. Baking parchment will do fine. You just want to protect your cork board, otherwise you're going to have this stuff on it forever. And you know what, if you don't mind doing that, then you know, pin directly into the cork board. This is optional, it's just to protect your surface. Alright, so I have my iridescent dazzling diamonds glitter ready. I've got something to tip my glitter off into at hand. I'm now going to turn on my heat gun, let it get good and hot, and then I'm going to heat up the fusible webbing. When it's good and hot, I'm going to dump the glitter on top of it, pour it off, and then heat it again. Okay, so what will happen is that, oops, I've just knocked the tripod there. What will happen is this surface will melt, the adhesive on it will warm up and get sticky. The glitter will stick to the adhesive, and then when you warm it again, the adhesive will get sticky again and hopefully will encapsulate some of that glitter so it won't all fall off as soon as you look at it. So it's going to get noisy, so I'm going to turn the sound off, give you some music to listen to. So now I can take this piece and die cut it, and I can use it in my project. I'm going to stamp the background onto my piece of Very Vanilla, and because this is such a big stamp, the way I like to work with these is I put the stamp on my work surface and I bring my card on my paper to it. So I'm going to ink this up well with my powder pink ink, as I want a very subtle background, and I'm going to bring my card to my stamp, and I've got a piece of background paper here, so I'm going to try and line that up so that it's as straight as I can get it. And I've got my piece of scrap paper. I think I called it background paper a few minutes ago. If so, I'm sorry. And again, I'm sorry if the camera's wobbling a little bit. I will see if iMovie can make that a bit better for you in post-production, so that you don't get seasick. Okay, so I'm just rubbing all over the back of that card. Now, in this particular case, I don't mind if it's a little bit distressed looking, because that's going to add to the effect. So this is a good one because you really can't go wrong. And yeah, I'm quite happy with that. My next step is to distress this a little bit, make it look a bit old and tatty. Now, this is a distressing tool, very widely available. Stampin' Up used to sell them. We don't anymore for some reason. This one is a Tim Holtz one, and I've just got it fastened to my folding tool here, just so that I can find it easily in my craft box. And I'm just rubbing up my edges. Now, if you haven't got one of these handy little gadgets, then that's okay, because you can use the blades of your scissors, or if you're very careful, a craft knife, something like that. Just be careful. Okay, so these are also handy if you like doing embroidery. These are handy little things for cutting thread. Okay. And I'm not really worried about it being rough and ready, because actually that's the way I prefer it. The rougher the better, in fact. And I've also got an emery board here, and that's also going to get in there with that. I just want it to look torn and tatty and rough and ready. This is a vintage Valentine. So now I've got crumb cake ink, and I've already put my finger mark on that, but that doesn't matter because I want it to look vintage and messy. And my stamping sponge, and I'm going to take that off, and I'm just going to just go over the edges, and where I've roughened those edges, that's going to take the ink and make it darker. So I get a kind of halo around the outside. And come right into the middle and just dirty that up a little bit more. How's that? Now, on this sheet of gold vinyl stickers, I've got this word love here, and I'm going to use this one on my card. Now, you get 2 of each sheet in the pack, so you get 4 altogether. So you get 2 of this sheet and 2 of the other one, and I'm going to use the staff lines on my music there to line this up. And this actually is a piece of music. You could actually play it. It's a piece by Beethoven, actually, for Elise. And I'll put a link, and you can go and listen to somebody playing it if you're that interested, if you haven't already heard it. It's quite a well-known piece, quite a well-known piano piece. Okay, so that is moving along. Right, now let me bring in this. Okay, this is a piece that I die cut out of my piece of glittered shimmering white, brushed and glittered shimmering white. It's not that easy to say. And I die cut it using, let me show you, using this die from the Lots to Love box framelits dies, and I really do like this sort of long and skinny kind of shape for a heart. Okay, so that's going to go on there, and I'm going to put a bow on it, I think. And if it seems like I'm making this up as I go along, I kind of am. You know, I've got an idea in my head, and I don't know whether or not this is going to come out the way that the vision in my head is, but do you know what? We'll just try it and find out. Woo, where did that go? There we go. It's trying to escape from me. How dare it? Okay, so let's get that to a sort of size that I want. Yes, and okay, so that's going to be that idea there, and I could, if I wanted to, I could make that look as if it were tied on. What do you think? Shall I do that? Should I do that? I think I will. Do you know what? I think I will. Okay, so let me trim that down a bit. Don't need all of that. Okay. Right, let's start sticking things together. So, first step is, if I'm going to be using that ribbon across the middle of my card here, let me decide whereabouts I want it to go. Do you think there? Or a bit lower? No, no, definitely not lower. Higher, if anything. So, let's... Okay. I'm going to put my tape on to the back of my ribbon and flip that round so that that stays in place. There we go. And this is just ordinary clear tape, kind to get in the stationers, nothing fancy, because I'm a great believer in using the least costly solution when you've got more than one option here. And I mean, you could use tear and tape, you could use fuse, but you know what, I've got that stuff and it is as cheap as chips, as we all know, so we'll use that one. Right, where's my liquid adhesive gone? Okay, so to glue this to the card base. You know, I do love a vintage card. I've popped some dimensionals onto the back of the heart, and I've tried to keep that middle bit free because that's going to sit over my piece of ribbon, just like that. Okay, so am I happy with that? Yes, that'll do. That'll do. And into the centre of my glittery bit in the middle. There goes my ribbon at a jaunty angle. And let's have one of these pearl embellishments. Now they come in 3 sizes. We've got big ones, middle-sized ones and little ones. That's a middle-sized one. I think I want a big one. And they are self-adhesive, but because we're going over a lump here, I think I'm going to add some liquid adhesive as well, just to make sure that it penetrates. Yep. So while I was doing my die cutting, I got more than one piece out of my my sheet of brushed and glittered card, and I also cut some of these smaller hearts that are in the same set. I can show you here in the picture. There's my big heart, and then I've got long skinny die and a sort of what you might call a classic heart die and more of a sweethearty shaped die. I didn't want to waste any of this card because it is beautiful. It is so beautiful. It's amazing. So I've cut out a couple of these pieces, and I'm just going to add them onto my card. And oops, I'm going to stick that on again because it's come adrift. Okay, and once that's had time for the adhesive to dry, I think that's finished. So there it is. There is my finished Valentine card, and it's all ready to be sent to my special somebody on Valentine's Day on February the 14th. So that's it for now. Thank you very much for staying with me this long. Do hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I would absolutely adore it if you would click that thumbs up button or subscribe to my channel and come back and see me again sometime, because I will be posting more videos very soon. But for now, bye bye.